Seconds. Here we go. The great state of New Jersey, the Garden State, home of the boss, Bruce Springsteen, and the third state admitted to the Union in 1787. But today, it becomes the second place in the world to host an announcement for the 2023 NOBULL CrossFit Games Open. Thanks for joining us, everybody, today at CrossFit Bison in Midland Park, New Jersey. I'm Sean Woodland with Tommy Marquez. Kayla Banfield is out there on the competition floor. We are set to hear the announcement of 2023 23.2, but I don't know if I am physically nor emotionally recovered from last week.
You know what, Sean? I think I'm ready to get hurt again, especially given what Boz put out there on week number 1 to set the tone. It was basically every dad's worst nightmare. Not only go up and touch the thermostat, he cranked the heat up a little bit, but the community was up for the challenge. So with that in mind, I would say I'm nervously excited.
We will see what awaits. Let's get down to the competition floor, introduce the third member of our broadcast team and our senior Australian correspondent, Kayla Banfield.
Open announcements at a CrossFit box are probably my new favorite thing because the energy in here, it's insane. And not only is this a high energy crowd, but this is also a fit crowd. And what I mean by that is CrossFit Bison was the fittest box in the US in 2022 and 2020, the second fittest box in 2021, and the fourth fittest box in the world in all 3 years. And the man behind all this fitness is Dave Syvertson. And Dave, you got a loud crew here. Not only are they loud, not only are they high energy, but you also have the second highest number of open regos in the world. How do you get so many people excited to sign up for the Open?
Well, the Open for us, it's two things. It's a test, but it's also a celebration. It's a test for all the athletes and all the work they put into it, the quality of our coaching, the programming. Are we actually preparing them for the unknown? But more important than all of that, it's a celebration. It's a celebration. I mean, look what we have going on right now. The people to my left, behind me. We want to celebrate them. We're here because of them, but we're also here for them. And we're all on that same page, and that's what we celebrate this time of year. It's another trip around the sun, and for somehow we just keep getting fitter and fitter every year.
Speaking of fitness, we've done 23.1. How did your crew go last week?
As usual, the Beast crushed 23.1. But, you know, on a serious note, it's just awesome to watch the progression. Last year, we had people in foundations, they're in scaled now. Last year, we had scaled in RX. We had first muscle-ups. We had people who couldn't do toes to bar last year that banged out 50 after a 60-cal row. You know, that kind of stuff is what we see. It's the magic of the Open. Every year we see it, and we can't wait to get back at it. We had a little extra juice this past weekend. I'm not sure why, but...
There's certainly something in the air at CrossFit Bison. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks.
And Sean, we've got a jam-packed show in store today, don't we?
It is going to be a lot of fun here this afternoon at CrossFit Bison. We have our warm-up show presented by NOBULL. We're right in the middle of that. Then we will have the live announcement of 23.2 presented by Chipotle. You'll want to stick around afterwards. Pat Vellner will be in the booth with Tommy Marquez for the cool-down show presented by Arasti. And as I mentioned, the announcement of 23.2 is presented by Chipotle, and they are giving away nearly 10,000 free entrees during our show. You'll have 4 chances during the show to text to win. They are also offering $0 delivery all day today when you order online. And to top it off, the winners of 23.2 in every division will win Chipotle for a year. Not that you needed any extra motivation there to do well in this workout. Now is your first chance to snag one of the 2,320 free entrees. Text OPEN 491 to 888-222 to receive a buy one, get one entree. Well, as you heard David Syvertson mention, this is a celebration. Not only is he open the first part of the season, but it's a chance for us to celebrate all the magic that takes place around the world in gyms in the CrossFit community.
I've always been quite an active person. I've never been a sit down on the sofa sort of individual. My hand was starting to go. I'm starting to twitch quite a bit. Not classic permanent tremor, but I would just go, ooh, a twitch, not like that.
I had sort of thought of other things, you know, maybe he's got a brain tumour or, you know, there are all sorts of possibilities. I think Scott knew that he wasn't right.
So I was then referred to see a neurologist. He says, right, okay, look, you're not presenting massively with Parkinson's, but there's enough, we should put you through the DAT scanner. Whenever the results were reported, they said, yes, your brain is deficient in its abilities to generate sufficient dopamine. So, short words, you've got Parkinson's disease, and there's no cure.
And he took all the treatment that was, suggested to him that he would try, which either didn't work or actually made him feel worse.
The arm movement started to become more frequent. The legs started to have a mind of their own. And then, unfortunately, frequently then the cramps came in. They were really, really uncomfortable and really unpleasant.
The first couple of years, he had a pretty rough ride,
One of the bits of advice I got was be fit and strong. So I started exercising.
He lost a lot of weight very quickly, which was fantastic. And then, having read all the Parkinson stuff, he realised that this sort of exercise that makes you think was, the way forward.
Things were really starting to happen. And I'm going, my symptoms are definitely getting better here. I thought, right, CrossFit, I think, is the next step up for me.
When Scott first joined, he didn't tell us about what was going on with him in the background. So he just joined up like every other client we have does.
4 months later, the coaches all got a text from the owners, and that was when I realised where Scott's background had been. And it made a lot more sense then why he moved the way he did. He didn't want any special treatment, he just wanted to be a normal guy, and that was awesome.
I think he would trust those guys with his life. Effectively, I would say CrossFit is his medicine.
And then by Halloween 2021, I personally, to myself, declared myself symptom-free.
And so it was like a real wow moment. Probably close to tears in the office with him that day.
What a powerful story to go from being really quite significantly affected by this illness to effectively being symptom-free.
I'm quite surprised that nobody is talking about this or it's not been discussed, because it worked for that bald guy in Belfast, Where's the downside in going, give that a go?
And you can see that and other stories just like it on the CrossFit Games YouTube channel. Search Magic of CrossFit. There was not a whole lot of magic for me in 23.1. I was one and done on that one. Fortunate enough to do it at NC CrossFit in San Jose, California, under the watchful eye of 2008 Fittest Man on Earth, Jason Kaliba. That's how it started. Nice little discussion about the strategy.
Man.
And that was, I don't even know if that was the end. That was like between reps 4 and 5, I think, on the clean.
I think that was halfway through the row there
my
for
resting
you.
position. Jason just shaking his head and just... How'd it go for you?
Not too bad. I was on the road, so I had the chance to drop in an affiliate. I was in San Diego, so I went to CrossFit Invictus. I did the workout alongside their 9 a.m. class, and like every good CrossFitter, thought I was one and done. Then I came back Monday from the trip and decided to redo it anyways.
Got yourself to the muscle-ups. Congratulations on that effort. Glad you improved on your score from your first go-around. And one cool thing that is fun to watch during the Open, and you heard David mention it here at CrossFit Bison, is how many firsts you see, how many PRs you see in the Open. And the community showed out in a big way for 23.1. First muscle-ups, first toes to bar, first maybe RX workout, and that's what really makes the Open special.
And no doubt, it's those little things that show us progress and keep us coming back day after day.
There's a common thread between the sites that we have attended these past 2 Open announcements, starting with Madrid last week. They have some of the leading gyms in the world when it comes to Open registration, and their community really showed up last week as well. Full CrossFit, the most prolific gym in the world when it comes to signing people up, 457 registered athletes, and then CrossFit Correhe, they were also on site at the Gaha Magica as well. As far as the United States is concerned, well, CrossFit Bison right now, 275 registered athletes. That is 6th best in the world. And then CrossFit Hendersonville, we were there last year, more than 300 athletes have registered. Now, one thing that this community does is rally around gyms and members who are in need. And I'm sure many of you have heard about this, but tragically on February 17th, Turnigan CrossFit in Anchorage, Alaska, suffered a partial roof collapse just 10 minutes before their Friday Night Lights event was set to kick off. Several members were trapped, and one member tragically lost her life. Now, we can help. There are 2 GoFundMes that have been set up, one for CrossFit Turnigan and one for the family of the member who lost her life. So please give if you can, and obviously our hearts go out to all of our community members who have been impacted by that terrible tragedy. So please just take a second, go to those GoFundMes, give what you can. Anything will make a difference. Let's turn our attention now to why we are here, the Worldwide Open, week number 2. Before we can get to week 2, we got to look back on week number 1. Top scores for 23.1. Emma Carey's going to win. She did get a 9-rep penalty for some of her wall balls not being below parallel, but that's still a rep better than Mal O'Brien, who got a score adjustment because one of her reps was completed after time had expired. Laura Horvath and Jacqueline Dahlstrom tie at 261, but it's Horvath with the tiebreak, and then it's Jamie Simmons in 5th.
Ton of familiar names on the leaderboard, but obviously Emma Carey trying to make her comeback from injury. Winning the workout overall worldwide is a huge boost. Remember back to 2021 when she broke through as an individual, one of the key pieces and checkpoints along the way was a worldwide win in 21.2. It really showcased her top-tier engine. So having a workout like this to start your season is a great indication of where she's at in her comeback. And then Mal O'Brien, you talk to anyone in the HWPO camp, they say she has one focus. That's to win the games in Madison. With the added skill components of 23.1, I think this is a good step in that direction overall. And then just below her, another woman everyone thinks can maybe push for the overall title this year. That's Laura Horvath. She was one of the open announcement athletes in week 1. It was an unfortunate mistake in loading the bar, so that score didn't count. But you know what? It's a testament to her as an athlete, Gabby as well, that they step right back up to the plate, hit another home run. And for Laura, just 5 reps shy of that first attempt. And it's still good for 3rd overall no matter what.
Let's go over to the men's side, where one of the athletes who we will be watching tonight, Roman Khrennikov, gets the top score, 306 reps, 2 better than Cole Griesaber. Pat Vellner, the other man here tonight, is in 3rd, 1 rep better than Guillaume Briant and Georgios Karavis, rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, more familiar names at the top of the leaderboard, but Roman Khrennikov, this performance is just another in a string of firsts for him. First year at the games in person, first CrossFit Games podium, first appearances at Rogue, Wodapalooza, and now his first Worldwide Open win. It's just setting up an awesome performance. And you look at his tiebreak time after the clean sub-7, that is just absurd. I don't care who you are. Behind him on the leaderboard, just a couple reps shy, Cole Griesaber, a huge performance for the young athlete who showed up as a rookie last year, took his licks, coming off of 5th place at Wodapalooza. We spoke to him in Miami. He said he wants to have more performances that make him feel like he belongs with the best in the sport. This will certainly do that. And then Pat Vellner, a great comparison stat, 104 reps better than when he first did it way back in 2014, has since built himself into an absolute legend. It should come as no surprise though. You look at a workout like 20.5, wall balls, muscle-ups, rowing, all elements that showed up here. He was 2nd up in the world, just a few reps shy of Roman, and it sets up an amazing matchup tonight.
And there were some incredible performances that we saw in other divisions, the age groups especially, and one in particular, Sam Briggs. I mean, what in the world, Tommy? What in the world?
41 years young, 6th best time in the world. You go back to 2014, she won this workout worldwide in the Open. And you know, she shifted focus to her career in firefighting, still manages to beat her score from back then. She says she's not fitter. I would beg to differ. 2 reps is better no matter what. She just continues to prove that she's a cyborg. And then Andrea Wilson in the women's seated without hip function. She's the 2-time reigning champ in this division. She wins with 221. Remember, they only had 150 reps per round, so 71 reps into that 2nd round. They're crowning a champion after the Open, so this is a big performance for her to go 3 straight.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Tommy, we are crowning some champions in the adaptive divisions at the Worldwide Open. It's 8 adaptive divisions in total for the men and the women. 5 of those divisions will crown champions after these 3 weeks. So these next 2 weeks are huge for the adaptive community, and really looking forward to seeing how these next 2 weeks play out for these athletes. And one cool thing to note too, a lot of first-time participants in the adaptive division. So welcome to the CrossFit Games Open to those athletes who are throwing down for the first time. Athletes we will be watching throwing down tonight. Tail of the tape presented by Wild Health. Roman Khrennikov taking on Pat Vellner, 2 men inside the top 10 of the worldwide rankings, and both men inside the top 6 at the CrossFit Games, and the 2 of them have legitimate podium aspirations for 2023.
And every time they show up to compete against each other, they're always attached at the hip, but I think people are maybe selling Pat a little bit short here tonight. One of the things that's been consistent throughout his career, he's been a top performer in the Open. 70% of the Open workouts in the last 3 seasons have landed him inside the top 20 worldwide. Every year since 2016, he's had an Open workout finish inside the top 5 worldwide. He's not afraid to take chances and deal with the repercussions afterwards. So for someone that is good at gymnastics, good at bodyweight stuff, I think this is a good opportunity for him to showcase everyone why he's still a threat for the top of the podium. But the guy he's going to be going toe-to-toe with, Roman Khrennikov, we're really seeing him flourish under these new circumstances. He's always had an endurance background. He used to flex that in some of these amazing event performances outside of the games. But over the years, he's rounded himself out, building on his strength, building on his technical proficiency with gymnastics. And now he's under the Mayhem banner, working with a great coach in Facundo Echecolatz. And I know they're setting him up for success again in 2023.
And Roman is making his open announcement debut here. And you mentioned Facundo as coach. Could not be here, but he has a very good stand-in taking Facundo's place. That is the most decorated athlete in CrossFit Games history, Rich Froning.
Yeah, I mean, one word comes to mind as far as what Rich's role is here this weekend, and that's going to be providing experience. You look at when he showed up 13 years ago in 2010 at the Dirty South Regional. He went on to win that event, and every year since, all he's done is rack up podium finishes. You hear about the 4 golds an individual, the 6 titles as a team, but he's also been a huge part of open announcements since the start. Even before we went live in 12.2, the iconic ones like 13.5, the Champions open announcement of 14.5. Rich has experience across the board in being a leader and an athlete, and it should pay dividends.
And he is on the competition floor with Caleb Banfield.
No stranger to the open announcements, but normally, as we saw, you're on this side of the fence competing. How does it feel to be spectating this year?
Man, you guys are awesome in here. Can't even talk. I couldn't even hear you. No, this has been one of the most electric crowds I've been a part of. Man, this is awesome. It kind of makes me want to do it, but not really. So thanks for having us out. I mean, you got an incredible logo too here. Like, I just feel like I'm at home, right?
And you've got a very important job this year in supporting Roman. What tips and what little nuggets of advice have you passed on to him?
He's a true competitor. He doesn't really need anything. I think it's more just calm the nerves, enjoy the moment, because one day you're going to be old and on this side and not really doing anything. So have fun and enjoy it. It's, they were asking, we were trying to figure out how many of these I've done. I think me and Dan started them before it was an actual live broadcast, and then I've been a part of each stage of it. So I'm glad that they're back, and like I said, thank you guys for having us. This is an incredible community you guys have here, and part of the larger CrossFit community out there. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Rich, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, if I can hear you.
I can't hear myself think sometimes. Now, for you guys at home, this isn't the last you'll be seeing of Rich Froning. Later on in the show, we'll be popping a mic on Rich to catch some in-the-moment sound. But for now, over to you, Sean.
Always great to see an OG athlete like Rich Froning, whose competition days are behind him, who's still hanging out with the community and being part of this thing.
I mean, you could hear from the pop the impact that he has on the community, and just to get a better example of that, look no further than the community he has built at CrossFit Mayhem in Cookeville, and the group of athletes that have surrounded themselves there as well.
Well, Roman Khrennikov and Pat Vellner will be the second matchup that we will see. We're going to have 2 local community athletes here from CrossFit Bison throwing down, and Kathleen Staunton and Joel Trella. They will be up first. They are warming up now. But next week, hey, never too early to start talking about 23.3. Make sure you tune in when we bring you from Omaha, Nebraska, Mal O'Brien taking on Danielle Brandon. Not a bad way to finish things up for the 2023 NOBULL CrossFit Games Open. Local athletes warming up and getting set to take the floor here in just a matter of minutes, as we will have the live announcement of 23.2 coming up. There is Kathleen Staunton. She and Joel Trella will be the first to take on the latest test of the 2023 NOBULL CrossFit Games Open. And the Open is underway. If you have registered for the Open, don't forget to redeem your code for $25 to spend at NOBULL for an order of $99 and over. Well, it is now time to find out what we're going to face in 23.2 when we return the live announcement of the latest test for the 2023 NOBULL CrossFit Games Open. The 2023 NOBULL CrossFit Open is presented by Chipotle, the official burrito bowl of the NOBULL CrossFit Open. NOBULL, the official footwear and apparel brand of CrossFit. Trifecta, the official meal delivery partner of CrossFit. And Wild Health, the official precision medicine partner of the NOBULL CrossFit Games.
For many, it is is an outlet.
2 straight event wins for the defending CrossFit Games champion.
For some, it is an identity.
Justin Medeiros is the fittest man on earth.
It can take us from who we are today to who we want to be tomorrow.
Knocking on the door yet again.
Training is everything.
My name is Annie Thorstadter, 2 times fittest woman in the world, and this will be my 12th time competing at the CrossFit Games. Carbs is the main fuel that we use when we're working out, and getting enough of it and at the right time is one of the most important things for my performance. RP helps me take away the guessing part of it and lets me just focus on my training and my game, which is winning the CrossFit Games.
Our methodology is the driver of our unparalleled results, or what we call efficacy. What this means is CrossFit actually makes people fit, and arguably we make them fitter, faster, and more safely than any program out there. These results are universal, predictable, and repeatable. The methodology works for everyone, can be scaled for anyone, and continues to work long term. This is not magic, it's just what happens when you put in the work. Results follow. It's how we revolutionize an industry and change millions of lives, and will change many millions more.
From the heart of Europe to the east coast of the United States, the Garden State hosts a matchup between a pair of men hoping to be crowned the fittest on earth. Patrick Vellner has been the long reigning king in the north. This year, he is hoping to show that he can wear the grandest crown of them all. Khrennikov proved he was worth the wait. He put himself on the podium at the CrossFit Games and put a scare into the defending champion. The beast from the east meets one of the best in the west. The live announcement of 23.2 from CrossFit Bison in Midland Park, New Jersey is next.
Hello and welcome to the official announcement of 23.2, brought to you by Chipotle. We are live from CrossFit Bison here in New Jersey. I'm your host, Kayla Banfield. 23.1 is in the books. First muscle-ups were achieved around the world, and congratulations if that was you. And now it is time for our second test. We have got so much in store for you tonight, including 2 throwdowns, and of course, don't forget to hang around later for our cool-down show brought to you by Air Rosti. Now, in true CrossFit style, we are led by our community. Our community comes first. So what better way to kick things off tonight than with a community throwdown with 2 of our local athletes. So join me in welcoming our first athlete to take 23.2, 55-year-old Masters athlete, Kathleen Staunton. And working out right beside Kathleen's side is New Jersey State Trooper, Trella. Doing 23.2 in front of your entire box, let alone the entire CrossFit community, is a little bit nerve-wracking. How are you feeling?
I'm totally pumped to take this on. I'm so honored. I'm so honored and psyched to get ready and go in front of my family, my CrossFit family. I'm ready to do it with the herd. Let's go, guys.
And Joel, as I said to Kathleen, being involved in this announcement must be a really big deal. What does it mean to you?
It's super exciting. I'm really proud to be here for the common average CrossFitter, and and I'm just looking forward to it. It's going to be so much fun doing it for Bison.
Represent the average CrossFitters, I say. And now, for the moment you have all been waiting for. I see you sitting over there at home on your couch wanting to know the workout. Well, I know just the guy. For the announcement of 23.2 brought to you by Chipotle, I give you 4-time fittest man on earth and 6-time affiliate cup champ, Rich Froning.
Thanks, I think.
Rich.
We'll see. 23.2A is as many reps as possible in 15 minutes of 5 burpee pull-ups, 10 shuttle runs, add 5 burpees after each round, then immediately into 23.2B, which is 5 minutes to establish a 1-rep max thruster.
And what are our initial thoughts after reading the workout?
I think pain comes to mind. I think, obviously the shuttle runs, those burpees are going to add up pretty quick, and then the old 1-rep max thruster, eh?
And the man behind the magic is competition director Adrian Bosman. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Adrian, on behalf of the entire CrossFit community, explain yourself.
Oh boy, there's a few things to talk about with this one. And number one, first thing you probably notice, it's a pretty similar time frame, but that's where the similarities end between last week and this week. This is the first time in a long time that we've had a couplet of a gymnastics and a monostructure workout. It's only the second time in the open that we've done that, so that's kind of cool. And there's this big theme of old versus new. And what I mean by that is the run. I mean, running is nothing new in CrossFit, but we haven't done it in the open format before, so that's going to be fun. And the burpee pull-up, that's been on the main site. That's in affiliate programs all over the world. It's also featured in a lot of different hero workouts, so we finally get to do it in competition. And last, when people think about thrusters in the open, they think about moderate reps, moderate weight. We're going to flip that tonight. We're going to go heavy. We're going to take that thruster for a ride, and I can't wait to see what the community is going to do with this one. So have fun, guys.
It's going to be fun to watch. I don't know about fun to do. But anyway, the workout has been released. A workout's a workout. A burpee pull-up's a burpee pull-up, right? Well, not always. CrossFit is a sport and the open is a test. So in order for your score to count, it's got to look a little something like this.
CrossFit Games Open Test 23.2A and 23.2B are completed as a single 20-minute effort. Open Test 23.2A is as many reps as possible in 15 minutes of 5 burpee pull-ups and 10 shuttle runs. After each round, add 5 burpee pull-ups. Continue climbing the ladder of burpee pull-ups until the 15-minute time cap. Your score for 23.2A is the total number of repetitions completed inside the 15-minute time cap. 23.2B begins immediately following the 15-minute time cap of 23.2A. Athletes will have 5 minutes to establish a 1-rep max thruster. Your score for 23.2B is the heaviest successful lift made in pounds. For the official movement standards, as well as specific information for each division, download the official 23.2 scorecard from games.crossfit.com.
So you've just seen our RX workout standards. And this week, if you're a teen or a masters athlete, your workout's going to look like that too. However, if, for example, you don't have a pull-up, don't worry, we've got options for you. For example, in scale, the option is a burpee and a jump up to the pull-up bar. It's also worth noting that the workout starts on the other side of the pull-up bar. Lots of information to take in, so make sure you head to games.crossfit.com for more details. Now, if you missed our pre-show, you may have missed your chance to win free Chipotle. They are giving away nearly 10,000 free entrees during our show, plus $0 delivery today only. Plus, every winner of 23.2 Part A in every division is going to win free Chipotle for a year. So get your phones out. Here's your second opportunity. They are giving away another 2,320 free entrees starting right now. Text OPEN 129 to 888 222 to get yours.
So a two-parter, and when Rich Froning announced the second part, I looked at Adrian and I said something I can't repeat on television.
Fair enough, because I think a lot of people haven't maybe tested their 1-rep max thruster in a long time, if ever. And with this first part as well, given the movements, there really is nowhere to hide. It's just constant movement.
We will have two local athletes from the CrossFit Bison community throwing down here in just a second. Kathleen Staunton and Joel Trella. Now, working out in front of a crowd like this, in front of a worldwide audience, obviously that can be a bit of a challenge, but it is nothing compared to the challenges and adversity the two of them have faced to get to this point.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer the night before the Open started last year. So last year's Open was very emotional for me as well. So going through the year that I had had, to be so grateful, to see how far I had come, and to be surrounded by people who love me, and to know that I'm not where I was, but I'm on my way back. Last year at this time was so daunting. I didn't really know what my fate was.
Been dealing with some issues in terms of some untreated PTS, post-traumatic stress, and some other. I suffered from major depression. I was hospitalized when I admitted to a coworker of mine that I was suicidal, and my colleague had told me, that I needed help, and I self-admitted into a psychiatric facility for 10 days. I'd been diagnosed with major depression, with alcoholism. It really was to the point where I had given so much of myself to my work and everything else that I'd let myself suffer. I walked in one day, and that was the hardest thing I think I'd done, was actually walking through the door. I remember my first day there, sitting in the back and didn't say a word, and just kind of looked around and took it all in, and it was frightening and frightening and motivating and thrilling at the same time. CrossFit allows me to clear the cobwebs out of my head when it starts to get dark and things. It's always there, it just doesn't go away. CrossFit allows me to come in, work hard, suffer a little bit, and realize that it'll pass. That 22-minute WOD is going to be hard, but at minute 23 it's going to be over, and it's just kind of like life. There's going to be dark days, but that storm passes. For me, it's been a huge help, and it's really kept me regulated, and definitely know the difference when I don't go.
Yeah, I'm done with my treatment. I'm definitely not the same person that I was. I don't know if I ever will be physically, and I've accepted that, and I'm okay with that. I work every day at that, but I'm much better now than I was. And every week is better, every month is better, and if this is as good as it gets, well, then I'm pretty lucky.
Two incredible athletes, two great human beings, and we are absolutely honored to have them here to participate in 23.2 23.2. Well, GoWatt is doing something really cool right now. During the Open, you can download their app for free and get customized mobility protocols for the Open tests. Go check out how they'll get you set for 23.2. It's free, and they have done all the hard work for you. And now the hard work is about to begin on the floor. You've had some chances to think about this. What is your trifecta recipe for success?
Well, you may recognize a few of these recipes as some Bruce Springsteen song titles. The first one, Born to Run. Run technique matters here. It's a short shuttle sprint, but making sure you have a good foot cadence, you have good technique as far as your turnaround point can save you precious seconds. And then the second one I'm calling I'm on fire. This workout is going to tax the low back with all the hinging, with the burpee pull up, the biceps as well. Make sure you prime those properly. And then the last one, easy money. This is a two-parter. You got to get back up off the floor and go lift. Make sure that first barbell is one you have in the bag. Be a little bit more conservative. Get a good lift to start the second portion.
Well, before we get to the first matchup, let's talk to one of the men who's responsible for these two athletes being here, and that's one of the coaches here at CrossFit Bison, Mike Delatorre.
Mike, you clearly have an incredible community here at CrossFit Bison. What does being a coach mean to you?
I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I can be part of this and that I can help people through their daily lives, because I say this a lot, but what we do in here, it's the easy part. The hard part is when you step outside of the doors and you have to deal with life. And I'm just grateful that I can make this my career, and I have the ability to help others.
And it sounds like you're a wonderful coach. Everyone in here obviously loves you. Coaching is so much more than just programming, right? Or telling people one more rep. How does your relationship with each athlete come into play?
It's the best way to communicate with someone is to build that relationship with them. I've been around some I've been blessed, been around some really intelligent coaches. But I think the ability to relate to someone separates them from someone else, right? From a mediocre coach. And it's more than just a workout. It's about learning about them and their families, the struggles that they might be going through. And by establishing that relationship, you can impact them so much more.
It sounds like you've impacted these guys a lot. Thank you so much for your time, Mike. And it truly is impossible to understate the importance of a coach. Thanks, Sean.
And big thanks to all the coaches who are out there putting in the work every day and making a difference for the members who step into their gyms every single day. We are almost ready here. Man, this one's going to be a challenge, I think. Like you mentioned, it's get a heavy barbell, but guess what? It's a thruster.
Yeah, you have that heavy barbell waiting at the end of this test, but we got some, I wouldn't say unconventional movements. I think what Boss said is very poignant about, being new to the sport, but not new to CrossFit. So a lot of these athletes are going to be in some unfamiliar territory as we start to dig into this test.
Oh, let's get this thing going. Down to the competition floor. Competition director Adrian Bosman to get us kicked off for 23.2.
Athletes, you've got 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go!
How you want to do this thing? 3, 2, 1. Tell me how you want to do it. I got the money coming in like fluids. No pain, no
First of our two heats here is underway. Kathleen Staunton is on the left. Joel Trella is on the right. Two athletes here from CrossFit Bison, and they will start with the 5 burpee pull-ups and then the 10 shuttle runs.
Me and you could never be the same, so how you gonna do it? How you gonna pop it and rock it? Stop it. I'ma take class like a rocket. Me and mine never been one for the office.
And you see each athlete opting to hop up, utilize the kit from the hang. That is not required, as Joel gets a quick adjustment from his judge. He has to get both feet behind the line and touch. Basically, if you're familiar with American football, the 3-point stance behind the line.
Let's take one more look at the recipe for success presented by Trifecta.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, these are all Bruce Springsteen song titles. It just seemed fitting, right, to honor the boss. Born to Run, talk about technique through these shuttle runs. Having to touch in that 3-point stance behind line. Anyone who's played ball sports, has run wind sprints, knows that there can be precious time made up in how you change directions. So practice that technique. I'm on fire, with all the hinging that you're doing with that touch to the ground, and the burpee pull-ups definitely prime those muscles that are going to see the brunt of that. And then easy money. maybe not the most popular Bruce Springsteen song, but if you can get that first lift in the bag, that's what it's all about. You're coming off with a high heart rate, you're trying to collect yourself and hit a 1 rep max thruster. Make sure that first one is a good lift and a weight that you know you can hit even when you're tired.
Now, both Kathleen and Joel are putting the finishing touches on their opening round. 10 shuttle runs to start. That will remain the same. The burpee pull-ups increase every 5. 3-point touch. You do not need to make the 3-point touch when you finish your last shuttle run. You can just get across the finish line and get started on your burpee pull-ups. And on the burpee pull-ups, there really isn't a rule here about grip, about kipping. Just get your chin over the bar by any means necessary.
Yeah, get your chest to the deck, get the chin over the bar. If you want to get wild with it, maybe switch your grip a little bit, go palms facing in, you can. Pretty simple standards as far as that goes. And also, of course, you don't have to start at a full hang. So if you jump up and catch with the arms bent, you can follow through and finish up to the barbell. Oh, sorry, to the pull-up bar, excuse me. Already thinking about that heavy thrust.
And the measurement standard is that the athlete has to stand underneath the bar with his or her arms directly overhead with thumbs touching. And as long as your fingers clear that pull-up bar, you are good to go. And there might be some affiliate owners out there who are worried about wrenching on their pull-up bars, moving them up and down. One thing that has been suggested that you put your athlete on a bar that is taller than necessary, and then use gymnastics mats underneath to build up the floor. That is allowed in this test. And Joel Trella is now on to his second round of shuttle runs. So 10 shuttle runs here at the 35 rep mark. He will enter round number 3. Here comes Kathleen Staunton, and we are about 3.5 minutes in here in this first of 2 heats that we will have for you as part of our live announcement of 23.2. Roman Khrennikov and Pat Vellner will be up after these two.
You see both Kathleen and Joel settling into a nice pace here on the shuttle runs. You know, as the workout progresses, the balance starts to shift towards those burpee pull-ups, but you want to find a pace earlier. Foot cadence, I was talking about that technique. You know, talking to a lot of athletes when this showed up at quarterfinals last year. You know, everything from how many steps it takes line to line. What does your step cadence look like once you get beyond the line? And make sure, you know, you're an athlete in those first 3 steps coming off of the change of direction.
Joel now has 2 shuttle runs remaining, and let's all remember that 1 rep is down and back.
Yes. And there's no credit for partial reps, so you have to complete the entirety of the shuttle run to get credit for it before time expires.
But Joel is now done with round 2, and he will start his 15 burpee pull-ups, and Kathleen is done. And remember, once you finish that last shuttle run in a set, you do not need to make that 3-point touch. You can just run across the line.
Both athletes with a nice, beautiful kip for each one of those pull-ups. You know, some of the elite athletes may not take the extra time to get that kip and that hang, but for, you know, athletes that maybe aren't shooting for the games, utilizing the hips, utilizing the full body to save the small muscles, the arms a little bit, is going to be key.
40 reps for each athlete down here. More than a third of the way through the first part of 23.2. At the 15-minute mark, your 5-minute window starts. There's no 1-minute rest or anything like that. You are in part B at the 15-minute mark. .50 reps is what these two need to hit before they will start another set of shuttle runs.
This is really a test in how honest you can be with your pacing. You know, it's very easy to come out with a little bit extra pep in your step, especially in an environment like this. But as we start to get, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes in, how much are you starting to fall off of that pace? Because each one of these movements are very long. There's not these quick turnovers between reps. There's a lot of space in between for you to fall off and slow down just a little bit. Maybe you take an extra shuffle before you jump up to the pull-up bar. Maybe you take an extra half breath before you drop down to the burpee. All of that is precious time. So especially early on, not coming out too hot and settling into a rhythm that you feel like you're almost just like a metronome. It's almost mindless to an extent.
Well, Kathleen is now done with her set of 15 burpee pull-ups and on to 10 more shuttle runs. Here comes Joel Trella. This CrossFit Bison crowd has been pretty energetic from the moment they walked in the door a couple hours ago. Had the wave going in here earlier.
They were really testing the signage team's ability to do their job by pounding on those signs. This is an awesome atmosphere here at CrossFit Bison.
And they have really been fantastic hosts. Anytime we come to one of these and take over a gym like this, it disrupts their class schedule, disrupts their their daily routine, and they have opened their doors and really done a fantastic job of helping us put on this event. And we are now at the halfway point of this 15-minute window. At the 60 rep mark is when Kathleen and Joel will start another set of burpee pull-ups. This time it will be 20.
You see Kathleen doing a little hop right as she gets past the touch point line. I know some people like that technique. You do that little extra hop, you turn in the mid-air, kind of helps you land in a loaded position.
Anytime you watch a shuttle run, you have flashbacks of basketball practice or football practice or hockey practice, having to go far line, near line back, far line back. It's just...
Yeah, basketball running lines. Usually was because you got in trouble.
Right.
Now we're signing up for it.
.61, now 62 reps for Joel Trella.
So that last round, Kathleen started to pull ahead of Joel during the burpee pull-ups. Was maybe a few steps ahead, but Joel reeled her in a little bit faster on the run. So kind of a little back and forth action between these two friends.
And again, no standard on the pull-up other than just getting your chin over the bar. Mix your grip. You can go with a chin-up grip. You can jump into the pull-up. At 80 reps, they'll take off on another set of 10 shuttle runs here.
Now we're starting to see those little things start to pile up. You come down from the pull-up, you take an extra half beat before you drop. Fatigue starting to set in.
The herd getting behind their two athletes here as we approach the 10-minute mark. 5 minutes to go in this opening 15-minute window of 23.2A. And now 8 reps remaining before another set of 10 shuttle runs. Kathleen Staunton just a little bit ahead of Trella right now. As Kathleen and Joel go through part A of 23.2, our two elite athletes getting measured for 23.8. Vellner maybe trying to stretch it up there, Pat.
Yeah,
come on now. There we go. Going to be a lot of retracted shoulder blades in this measurement.
Some overarched thoracic spines there. Just you see him kind of smiling.
And again, your fingers just have to be clear of the pull-up bar. It can be a centimeter, it could be 5 inches, doesn't matter. Less than 4 to go. Joel Trella has 1 more burpee pull-up to go before he takes off on 10 more shuttle runs. And I'm guessing that 25 feet never seemed like such a long distance than it does at this 5 minutes for Joel Trella.
And a nice little rally from Joel. For a second there, he right around reps 68 or 70. He started to slow, and it looked like Kathleen might pull ahead of him, but those final 10 burpee pull-ups, he really poured it on. He's got about a full shuttle run lead over Kathleen now, maybe 2.
The 90 rep mark, Joel will move back to the pull-up bar, and he will start a set of 25 burpee pull-ups, less than 3 minutes to go here in part A. Trella now down to his final 2. And once again, it bears repeating, down and back. That is 1 rep, down and back.
And to start the first rep, you don't need to touch. And to finish the last rep, you can just run through the line, get 2 feet past the line.
Joel is done, and he is back to the pull-up bar. He is about 2 minutes to go to get started on this set of 25 burpee pull-ups.
And yeah, by the end of that shuttle run, he was a full 3 reps ahead of Kathleen, but taking a sizable break here before he starts his next set of burpee pull-ups.
Saw coach and CrossFit Bison owner David Syvertson out there cheering his athletes on. We talked to him earlier. Now 90 seconds to go.
We talked to Kathleen earlier as well, and just, you know, kind of trying to catch up on how the first week went, and she was just so happy. There was a sense of relief and excitement, just you know, not knowing what her next year was going to look like. You saw in the video earlier that, you know, just the day before 22.1, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and, you know, with an uncertain future ahead of her, being here a year later and being able to throw down and represent her community, just this huge sense of relief and pride, and being able to be here a year later.
Joel Trella just chipping away at this set of 25, trying to get as many reps as he possibly can now with 45 seconds remaining. Kathleen Staunton through 96.
This is where you go plaid, Sean. About 30 seconds left. Only 2 things you need to think about. Get your hands to the floor, drop. Get your hands to the floor. Commit to jumping to the pull-up.
And Joel's doing a nice job of not lowering himself down. Just let go and get to the ground.
Yeah. There's no style points for sticking the landing and dropping down perfect at this point. You're basically 15 minutes into this thing.
Final seconds here of part A, and then we will move to the 1 rep max thruster. 5-minute window begins at 15 minutes. And I don't think Joel is going to get there on that one. And now they have 5 minutes to establish a 1 rep max thruster, and both athletes will open at 95 pounds. Now it is legal to have a bar preloaded and waiting for you, and you can get help loading your bar. A great effort from Joel and Kathleen, and I always give the community athletes so much credit getting out here and throwing down, not only in front of this audience, but again in front of a worldwide audience.
And Joel's already ready to work.
Look at this, going right to it.
We were talking with the team earlier.
There you go.
Trying to see how soon some athletes might go to the bar. You know, most people thought maybe a minute. Nah, Joel's ready to go 30 seconds in. Let's get something on the board. Let's go.
He's got 95 in the bag, and has about a little more than 4 minutes to go here. And looks like he's going to throw a couple 10s on there. Go to 115.
You know, with 5 minutes and some recovery time from the first test, I like to treat this like a weightlifting meet. You know, you have your opener, something that you know you can hit. a second weight if you are tired that you would be really happy finishing with. And then if you hit those first two, hey, let's start to shoot for the moon a little bit on this third and fourth reps if you have enough time to get another one in.
And you saw Kathleen Staunton go right into the squat clean. That is legal as well. And there's no rule about feet shuffling during the lift as long as you just don't re-dip to jerk the weight.
Yeah, back in 2011, the thruster was the 1 rep max lift for regionals that year. It was a thruster ladder. You started at a weight and progressed through the ladder, but the rule was there were no foot faults, right? So once you planted your feet to start the thruster, they could not move at all. They had to stay firmly planted. That is not the case. You can shuffle your feet to stabilize as long as you don't re-dip.
There's 105 for Staunton. That is good, and Trella made 125.
A great acceleration out of the hole there from Staunton. You know, sometimes going right into that full clean, you know, they can actually kind of throw you off balance a little bit, but a good position, really starting to see that bar speed accelerate as she came up into extension.
Halfway through this 5-minute window, that time goes fast.
Oh, yeah. I'm actually impressed with how many attempts they've gotten in so far and how quickly they've recovered.
Trella now at 145, and that is good.
And that, you know, I'm not his coach, but I might tell him, hey man, you got plenty left in the tank. That 145 looked easy.
And Kathleen Staunton is good at 115. Looks like 155 going on the bar now for Joel Trella. Plenty of time here for the New Jersey State Trooper. 155 for Trella. And that was no problem.
I mean, this is one of those things where, you know, planning these lifts out as an athlete or as an everyday athlete, and you're not used to training a 1 rep max thruster or going heavy in this fashion. You're kind of flying blind a little bit as what to expect or maybe what your jump should be. But at this point, he's gotten 3 to 4 good lifts in.
Oh, Kathleen can't get 120. Oh, Joel's going up to 165 here. And he will get it. 45 seconds left. We'll see if he makes another run. I think he's made, is that his 5th attempt?
Yeah, at least. And everyone has looked solid so far. This is one of those scenarios you ride the lightning. You don't know where you're going to have this type of environment, this type of adrenaline again, and you've gotten some good lifts in. Be a little optimistic in your next jump.
Staunton going for 120 one more time. As long as the bar is in motion and off the floor before that 5-minute hits, the rep will count. It does not look like Joel is going to go for any more here. But an inspiring and incredible effort from both of these athletes. Kathleen Staunton and Joel Trella doing their community proud here at the live announcement of 23.2. And then Joel looked like he had more in the bag there.
Definitely
that was
did.
impressive.
But then again, it's easy, you know, sometimes you see yourself lifting after the fact, like, that looked easier than it felt. Kathleen with a couple of good lifts, too. She's actually the first athlete from CrossFit Bison to advance past the open. So the avenue of competition, you know, at least within the walls of this affiliate, past the open has been something that she's kind of helped be a pioneer for.
Let's take a look back at heat number 1. Kathleen Staunton and Joel Trella throwing down here.
see from the outset, both opting to go for the full hang, get a good full kip for each pull-up. They were pretty much in lockstep for most of this, never really swaying beyond a rep or two ahead in each direction. Towards the back half, though, we started to see Joel pull away. He got as many as 3 shuttle runs ahead of Kathleen, but she started to reel him in on the final set of burpee pull-ups, and the end result was them just being separated by 1 rep.
And then we go to part B, the 1 rep max thruster, and both athletes starting off extremely well here.
Yeah, I was surprised how quickly each one of them recovered to be able to get back to the barbell. You know, Kathleen opting for basically a cluster, a full clean thruster, and Joel getting it to the shoulders first before squatting. I don't think any of these lifts were ever in doubt. I mean, just a smooth, steady press out coming out of the hole for that front squat.
Here are your results. Each athlete just separated by 1 rep in part A, with Joel Trella logging 102, Kathleen Staunton at 101, and then part B, Trella with an impressive lift at 165 pounds and Kathleen Staunton at 115. And the two of them are on the competition floor with Caleb Anfield.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Kathleen and Joel. They did an epic job, and Joel, you said to me just before that was surprisingly hard, and I feel like it's possibly one of those workouts that doesn't look as bad on paper. How was it?
Well, it looked terrible either way, but I thought I was going to get more rest on the shuttle runs, and it definitely was not the case. So they surprisingly took a toll on me.
And Kathleen, what's it like doing the workout in front of the entire CrossFit community?
There's nothing better at all, especially with the herd behind us. There was nothing better. It was so much fun having everyone here. It was great.
Do you think you guys went harder because you were being watched by the whole CrossFit community?
Always.
Well, great job, guys. Matchup 1 is done, and matchup 2 is just around the corner. But before we get into exercise, let's talk about food. If you're feeling hungry, don't miss your chance to get one of 10,000 free entrees from Chipotle during the show only. Text OPEN064 to 888 222 to receive a buy one, get one entree at Chipotle. Visit chipotle.com/BOGO for more terms and conditions.
The official burrito bowl of the NOBULL CrossFit Open. NOBULL, the official footwear and apparel brand of CrossFit. Rogue, the official equipment supplier of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. And Trifecta, the official meal delivery partner of CrossFit.
Justin Darris, and I am the 2-time fittest man on earth. Ever since I was little, I've always been into sports. I grew up wrestling pretty much my whole life, and I always used CrossFit to help train for that. And when I went to college, I was going to wrestle at Boise State, and a week before practice started, they ended up cutting the program. I gave myself the next 3 or 4 years to hopefully qualify for my first ever CrossFit Games, and that's when that kind of journey began for me for the CrossFit Games. Being able to consistently compete at the highest level, it's all about the 1%. And for me, that's huge on nutrition. And being able to go anywhere throughout the United States and be able to drop in any Chipotle and know that I'm getting the same high quality meal no matter where I'm at is huge. My go-to order is always get a bowl, lettuce on the bottom, double white rice, double meat with guac and a little bit of queso to top it off.
In CrossFit, we don't get our results from a lab. Instead, the data that guides our training and nutrition recommendations is collected from countless workouts where time, weight, distance, and reps are measured. The measurement and recording of workouts is part of our culture, and it makes CrossFit a giant, efficient experiment conducted in garages, affiliates, and parks all around the world. Every recorded workout is a data point that contributes to this experiment. It is this measurable, observable, and repeatable data collected from tens of thousands of athletes that has allowed us to prove the value of intensity, functional movements, variance, and whole foods eaten in the right quantities for the optimization of fitness and health. And most importantly, as best practices permeate the community, we learn and implement what really works for our athletes. In CrossFit, we don't get our results from a lab. Instead, the data that guides our training and nutrition recommendations is collected from countless workouts where time, weight, distance, and reps are measured. The measurement and recording of workouts is part of our culture, and it makes CrossFit a giant, efficient experiment conducted in garages, affiliates, and parks all around the world. Every recorded workout is a data point that contributes to this experiment. It is this measurable, observable, and repeatable data collected from tens of thousands of athletes that has allowed us to prove the value of intensity, functional movements, variance, and whole foods eaten in the right quantities for the optimization of fitness and health. And most importantly, as best practices permeate the community, we learn and implement what really works for our athletes. Our methodology is the driver of our unparalleled results, or what we call efficacy. What this means is CrossFit actually makes people fit, and arguably we make them fitter, faster, and more safely than any program out there. These results are universal, predictable, and repeatable. The methodology works for everyone, can be scaled for anyone, and continues to work long term. This is not magic, it's just what happens when you put in the work. Results follow. It's how we revolutionize an industry and change millions of lives, and will change many millions more.
CrossFit and Orasti have a lot of overlaps. Both goals are keeping people healthy, get you moving better, living a healthier lifestyle. We don't only support the community, we're a part of the community.
They tell you exactly what's wrong, and they're going to tell you how you can fix it through movement.
It really does make you more aware of what you're doing, how you do it, and how to stay healthy.
Hello and welcome back to the official announcement of 23.2 brought to you by Chipotle. Our Heat 1 athletes have set the tone, and now it is time to intro the big boys. Joining us in his open announcement debut is 2022's CrossFit silver medalist, Roman Khrennikov. Head-to-head with Roman, joining us in his 6th open announcement, currently sitting second in the CrossFit Worldwide standings, Patrick Vellner. Now, Roman, this is your first official open announcement. You've only just found out the workout. How do you prepare for something in such a short period of time?
Очень крутой воркаут, я очень рад представлять этот воркаут. Мне нравится поддержка, очень крутые люди, просто сумасшедшие орут, это очень мне нравится. Стратегия, просто иди вперед.
He just heard this workout, he absolutely loves it. This crowd is very electric, he's very excited to do the workout in front of all of you guys here, and his strategy is just keep going.
Love it. Now, Patrick, you are no stranger to the CrossFit Games or open announcement workouts. I'm sure you've been mulling over how to approach this workout, and there are 2 parts. How do we make sure we get the best out of both of these parts?
I think you can't underestimate the effect of a 15-minute workout, and it's going to be long. I think that time's going to add up, and you're going to feel like you're doing, shuttle runs forever and staring at the ground a lot. But, it's 2 parts. It's 2 scores, so you can't just go all in on one and forget the other. But I think, it's probably worth measuring your strengths a little bit, being honest with yourself. And if you've got one that might be a little bit better than the other, attack it.
Love it. Thank you so much for your advice, guys. I feel like I personally resonate with the staring at the floor part. Now, Rich, you've had a minute to think about this workout too. What is your recipe for success presented by Trifecta?
I think the cliche, smooth is fast to start, especially. Get those hips flipped on the shuttle runs. Find a burpee pace that you can stick with. And then that thruster, just bury it and explode out of the bottom of that squat with whatever you've got left in those quads after all those shuttle runs.
Thanks so much, Rich. Back to you, Sean.
Thank you, Kayla. Trifecta and Mayhem have teamed up to give away a VIP trip to the 2023 NOBULL CrossFit Games, including airfare, hotel, tickets, and a meet and greet with Rich himself for the winner and their guests. You can click the QR code on your screen to enter and win. And some of you may be wondering, what is it like to be coached by Rich Froning? Well, luckily we had a mic on him as he was helping Roman Khrennikov get ready, and here's what went down.
I guess I'm reading off what the workout is, and then I'll come back, and if you want ideas or want to talk about strategy, I'm here. If not, then just tell me to leave you alone. I'm just here. I'm here for whatever you need.
After each round, then immediately into 23.2B, which is 5 minutes to establish a 1-rep max thruster. I would not put your knee sleeves, I would leave them on your shins while you're doing the first part, because it's going to blow up your quads. And then just thruster really heavy. Power on that squat, power out of the bottom of the hole on that squat, and then let the arms take over at the top. This is just, competitive side. If you feel like, hey, you can stay right behind him and keep some pressure on him to make him think you're just right there. And then when you get to a point where you start to see him slowing down, then bears think hips. So if he's coming in, you're coming in, bringing that hip, and then hip. Straight line as quick as you can. Drop that foot back. Let that arm, as you're coming up, let that arm carry your momentum into the next one. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. You're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine. There's nothing to worry about. 135, 185. It's not going to hurt you. You got plenty. 5 minutes is a lot of time. Feel it out. If you feel good at 135, go for it. Or 185. But 5 minutes is a long time, and it shouldn't take too much out of you.
Thruster heavy, couldn't be simpler. Here's your tail of the tape, presented by Wild Health. I don't know who's got the edge here.
Well, I think there's a little bit for both to be excited about. I mean, this is a different type of run, right? Obviously the starting and stopping and the changing of directions. Pat loves burpees and pull-ups. He typically does well at those in open workouts. And then Roman is just so strong and such a good runner. So how are these two things going to blend together and see who can rise to the occasion?
Well, let's find out. Let's get this thing kicked off. Down to the competition floor. Competition director Adrian Bosman.
10 seconds. Three, two, one, go!
Khrennikov and Vellner head-to-head here in 23.2 Part A. 15 minutes of burpee pull-ups and shuttle runs. We start with the 5 burpee pull-ups into 10 shuttle runs, and we will add 5 burpee pull-ups every round with the shuttle runs remaining the same. And right away, both athletes deciding to jump right into that pull-up.
Yeah, and an immediate technique that's both of them are using, obviously dropping to the deck to get their chest down, but both doing that gather step up. So stepping one foot up, gathering to be able to jump immediately up into the pull-up bar. They're not getting to that hang position. They're catching with bent arms and just continuing to pull through. For these elite athletes that have that upper body strength, they have that strength endurance, they can maintain that for most of the workout.
Both Vellner and Khrennikov now with just 5 reps remaining in this opening round.
Well, Any secret about strategy from Rich got thrown out from the window on that on that last mic'd up. Maybe gave away a few secrets. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Pat lead from the front here. You talk about the back and forth and the change of direction here. Pat played lacrosse growing up. And in Canada, they play a lot of box lacrosse. What that involves is a lot of short sprints, a lot of change of direction, a lot of planting, a lot of zigzagging. It's very tight quarters. So that type of running is something he has done a ton of growing up.
And now 10 burpee pull-ups before another set of 10 shuttle runs. And we're not even 2 minutes in yet to this 15-minute opening part. Back-to-back test here in 23.2 A and B.
And on the inverse of that, Roman is such a good runner, but I think what really benefits him is having some of these longer runs where he can get out in front and challenge people to a heavier pace, find a rhythm with his foot cadence, his stride, really leverage his lungs.
Vellner maintaining that lead that he built in round one, just about one length of the floor ahead of Roman Khrennikov here.
He's also got probably 20 pounds on Pat, and taken from another fellow big guy, starting and stopping and changing direction takes on a new meaning.
It's hard to reach full speed in 25 feet when you're 220. You're in a constant state of slowing down.
Well, and that's why foot cadence and foot technique, the footwork and the turnaround point and your first few steps out of the break are important.
Vellner needs to get to the 35 rep mark to end round two here. So now just 2 shuttle runs remaining, and going to keep repeating it, but down and back. That is 1 rep.
I spoke to Boz about this earlier, and in testing, he said based on the pace that most people are able to hold, the shuttle runs were taking about a minute, and he thought that, someone would get past maybe the 35, maybe into the 40 burpee pull-ups if they really kept the throttle down full speed.
Both Vellner and Khrennikov into round 3 here.
See both athletes dropping that gather step up. Very little wasted movement there. One thing I love that Boz said earlier is that, this is new to competition, but it's not new to CrossFit. The fairly well-known CrossFit benchmark, G.I. Jane, it's been around forever. 100 burpee pull-ups for time. It was first posted as a WOD demo on the main site, way back in 2007, July 19th to be exact. Done at the original OG CrossFit Santa Cruz gym. And then even more recent years, you have hero workouts like Clovis, where you have a 10-mile run and 150 burpee pull-ups for time.
Well, Roman is now tied Pat Vellner as they take off on their 3rd set of shuttle runs. At the 60 rep mark, they will be done with this 3rd round and move into round 4. And we're not even a third of the way through this 15-minute window.
You notice the difference? Roman is always facing the same side every time when he touches. So some people do that in box jump overs as well. We always try to face the same side. That way you're not spinning in circles. For some people, that can be a little discombobulating. Looks like Pat is always turning to his left. For Roman, what it does, it also switches the hand that he's touching with each time. He's talking about how many times you have to hinge with each one of these shuttle runs. Switching it up from side to side can maybe spread the effects of the load out from either side.
We are now into round 4, 20 burpee pull-ups before another set of 10 shuttle runs, and Khrennikov and Vellner are neck and neck.
Roman's starting to pick up the pace a little bit.
One more look at 23A and 23.2B. presented by Chipotle. We are in part A right now, adding 5 burpee pull-ups every round, and then at the 15-minute mark, we go into the 1-rep max thruster, and that barbell needs to be taken from the floor. Khrennikov and Vellner now with just 7 reps, now 6 reps remaining before they close out this set of 20. And once again, no standard on the grip. You can mix, you can go underhand, you go overhand, you can jump into the pull-up, you can kip. You just got to get your chin over that bar.
And this crowd is just pumping. They showed up about 45 minutes before and started filling out the place, and the energy has just been nonstop. I mean, it's truly a testament to the community that they built here at CrossFit Bison.
Now Roman Khrennikov with his first lead in this matchup. Fourth set of 10 shuttle runs for both athletes. And 7 minutes have gone by. And 90 reps is the mark that they need to get to close out this round. And now Vellner starting to gain a little ground here on the shuttle run. Roman Khrennikov, the second fittest man on earth last year, who really made things interesting in that battle with Justin Medeiros, especially late in the competition.
For years, we've been talking about how much we had wished that Roman could be at the games and finally get the travel visa issue sorted because of the potential that we saw based on his performances and competitions out of season. And, you know, finally getting that moment this past year in Madison, it was everything as advertised. You know, winning events at the games, pushing for the top spot in that battle with not just Justin, but Ricky as well. And obviously there's the heartfelt moment with finally being able to have his wife and his son here. You know, he met his son for the first time at the games in the days leading up to it. I mean, you couldn't write a better script for that. And now we're getting to see him flourish, you know, getting to train each day, solely focused on competing, not worrying about all the extracurriculars outside, about his travel, about his visa, and whether or not his family will be able to join him.
115 reps is the mark that these men need to reach on this set of 25 burpee pull-ups before they will embark on another 10 shuttle runs, and they are neck and neck. Each man has led here in this matchup.
We're seeing a little back and forth here in that last round. Roman started to pull ahead during the burpee pull-ups. Pat reeled him in during the run. We're pretty much in lockstep now.
Rich Froning looking on. Just about 2 feet in front of us here.
I mean, as this time domain starts to stretch, if you're Pat, I think you're just happy to stay on Roman's hip and hope that, you know, as we start to get closer, you can give one last burst and maybe clip him at the line.
6 reps remaining in the set of 25 for both men. Final 3, and then 10 more shuttle runs here.
And, I mean, you just want a clinic on how to do these burpee pull-ups and keep an honest pace. And these guys have been tremendous so far. Just every rep looking almost the same.
10 more shuttle runs, and remember, you have to have that 3-point touch on each end, except when you finish. You can just cross the finish line. There's Pat's coach, Michel Latondra, keeping an eye on his pace. .125 on the rep counter will signify the end of round number 5. And then it's 30 burpee pull-ups. So now things really getting serious. It's still dead even between Khrennikov and Vellner.
It's interesting how the order and the push from each one of these athletes basically flipped from round to round. Roman made a push on the burpees, Pat reeled him in on the run. Then this last round, Pat made a push on the burpees. Now Roman started to reel him in on the run. Man, you talk about two of the best athletes in the sport doing a workout like this where you're looking right, you're like, man, this guy just won't let up. I really want to slow down, but you can't.
Round 6, 30 burpee pull-ups. 3.5 minutes left here in part A of 23.2. And after this, we move on to the 5-minute window to establish that 1 rep max thruster.
You see Pat's hand placement on the far side of the screen. He's going for a really wide elbow. His elbow's flared out. Very different than like a traditional push-up position, or even where most people might put their hands to do their burpees. Could be trying to change up the stimulus a little bit and save the shoulders, because you're going to need them on the thrusters in just a few minutes. He's been doing that basically since the beginning.
Roman has now about a 1 rep lead on Vellner here on the burpee pull-ups. 155 reps is what they need to complete before they get back out on the shuttle runs.
Those tests that's just mind-numbing, right? Like, it seems so easy in theory, drop down, jump up.
And to your point, those little things add up. And he mentioned that too, is that if you are not jumping into your pull-ups, that is going to add up significantly as you move your way through this test. Now 90 seconds remain, and Roman Khrennikov has widened his lead on Patrick Vellner here in this late stage of the opening window. Khrennikov is off on his shuttle runs, and Vellner still has 4 burpee pull-ups to go. Less than a minute to go, and now Vellner's going to try to make up some ground on Khrennikov.
But that pause there, after that first length of the shuttle run, you can tell Pat's in the pain cave here, but about 45 seconds left. Body's starting to feel a little jelly.
But he's cut into that lead a little bit here. Once Roman gets to 165, he's going to be able to add some burpee pull-ups to his total, and now we're inside 30 seconds to go. Khrennikov back to the pull-up bar.
3, 2, 1, time.
And that will do it for part A. Roman Khrennikov unofficially 168. And we'll see where Pat Vellner got. But I think he may have finished up his shuttle runs.
An impressive performance there at the end with Roman really showcasing his aerobic capacity and endurance in those final few minutes. You know, that last set of 10 shuttle runs only took him 1:12. You know, we talked to Boz that most people were a little bit over a minute in testing. So even at the end of this workout, after all the work that he's done, he's really not falling off the pace that much. He's able to maintain a consistent pace in those shuttle runs. And by the end, that was the difference because they were so close.
Now this is interesting. 2 very different approaches here to the opening lift. Roman's just going to feel out 135 here.
What we heard from Rich being mic'd up in the back, you know, just do 135 or 185 or something, right? Just grease that groove. It's not more so to just kind of get those muscles firing and get used to it, because you're going to have plenty of time to get the attempts that you want in. Now, Pat opting for 230.
First attempt for Pat Vellner. And that will count. So Roman is going to jump up to 225.
A little perspective here. Back in 2011, when we had the thruster ladder, the top lift, 325 from Danny Nichols, who was competing on TJ's gym in San Rafael.
225 for Roman. That is easy.
That looks really easy. Yeah, Danny Nichols had the top lift. He was part of the team competition. Top individuals, Nate Schrader, Jason Kalipa, Asia Bartow, each hit 285 back in 2011.
Vellner jumping up to 255, and you can get help with your barbell here as far as loading it is concerned. And you can have a loaded barbell waiting for you at the end of your 15-minute window from part A. So Vellner now to 255. That is good. Now Roman Khrennikov going all the way up to 275.
That looked close. Looked like his leg buckled as he stepped forward.
And Khrennikov has it.
That looked pretty darn good for 275. I don't know about you, Sean. I've never stood it up that easy.
Now just 2 minutes remaining here in this window.
See Pat putting on some wrist wraps. You know, especially if you're squat cleaning this, you know, used to doing a full clean and kind of letting the grip go a little bit to get that better rack position with the elbows up. Because you have to press it up out of the bottom, you got to get that kind of like in between, almost like that half and half front rack position. Puts a little bit more stress on the wrists.
.90 seconds left. Here goes Vellner at 270. Just can't lock it out. Plenty of time to make another run. Roman Khrennikov at 295. Oof. And that is good for Roman Khrennikov, 295.
Looks like Pat's going to give it another go.
And Vellner will hit it. So 30 seconds to go. Looks like Roman's going to go again here.
And the bar just needs to be off the ground. It needs to be in motion before the 5-minute cap for it to count.
Vellner is going to go to 275, so 300 for Roman Khrennikov. 10 seconds to go. Rich Froning getting in on the act here as well.
3, 2, 1.
Pat just cannot lock out 275. So the two of them swinging for the fences there at the end. But Roman Khrennikov's going to get 295 on the board, and Pat Vellner at 270. I mean, the fact that these guys are lifting those weights at this fatigue level.
Yeah, you know, I mentioned the weights lifted, I don't know, a decade ago. That was under much different circumstances. You know, you only had to do that lift. You got a full ladder to run up and get primed for those heavier barbells. Plenty of rest in between. You hadn't done 15 minutes of burpee pull-ups and shuttle runs beforehand.
Going to be a clean sweep for Roman Khrennikov here in his matchup with Pat Vellner, and he continues on that tear that he has been on since the CrossFit Games. Signing his scorecard, and Pat Vellner's handing out some high fives. Roman Khrennikov is going to do the same. As funny story that Adrian Bosman tells about the Capitol event. When Roman got done with it, he just went up to Boz, looked him in the eye, shook his hand, and just went, hard. Just walked off.
That is a stamp of approval from Roman Khrennikov. What you also left out is that everybody else was basically strewn across the Capitol steps and looked like human rubble. Roman gives him a nod, thanks him for his work, and walks off. Oh, man. But, you know, a great effort from both these men, pushing each other to the last minute.
Pat Vellner by our desk looking for a Sharpie to sign some autographs.
Ooh.
And while we try to dig up a Sharpie for Pat Vellner, let's take a look at our replays here. And for part A, neck and neck throughout, but it was late where Pat Vellner started doing some little things that was costing him some time.
Well, it's easier said than done, but as the workout starts to pour on and you take an extra shuffle here or there before you drop down. But credit to Roman, we got a little sneak peek before from Rich about the strategy for this workout, and he executed it perfectly. He didn't lead early on, he hung close to Pat, and then as the workout progressed, he laid the hammer down. In those final 5 minutes, he started to pull away from Pat, and Pat, an excellent effort to try and keep pace, but Roman Khrennikov is a hard athlete to reel in once he gets a head of steam behind him.
And Roman opens up that lead late, and he is able to get back to the pull-up bar in round number 7. Whereas Vellner was not able to complete a burpee pull-up in that round. I think he did get through all of his shuttle runs. And then we move on to the 1 rep max thruster, and it was Vellner on his second attempt at 270, but Roman Khrennikov at 295.
Yeah, Roman took an extra crack at 305 and almost had it, but this is the payoff for all the work that he's been putting in to increase his overall strength. A few years ago, he might have been 20, 30 pounds less, but all of the work paying off here in front of the entire CrossFit community.
Roman Khrennikov gets into round 7 with 168 reps. Patrick Vellner was 3 shuttle runs shy of getting into round 7. And then in 23.2B, it was Vellner at 270 on his second attempt. Roman Khrennikov hits 295. Khrennikov and Vellner are with Caleb Banfield.
Alrighty, Roman, you've done your very first open announcement here at HQ, and how was the experience?
Очень крутая организация, очень крутая поддержка. Еще раз повторюсь, просто все кричат. Я думаю, можно немного потише, чуть-чуть потише. Ну и, в принципе, хотел передать привет всем моим друзьям, все, кто меня поддерживает, а также моей жене. Ей сейчас особо тяжело, она там одна с моим сыном справляется. Я очень скучаю, уже жду с нетерпением, когда приеду домой обратно.
It was electric, you guys. This crowd is so loud. He loved it so much. As he was doing the workout, he was thinking to himself, oh my God, can we be a little bit quiet? And then he was like, the crowd, when they went up so loud while he was doing a lift, it helped him a lot. So thank you so much. He also would like to say hi to everybody who ever supported him. It was really means the world to him, especially. He wants to say hello to his wife and his son. Back in Cookville, she's all alone by herself. It's really hard for her. So he wants to say hello to her, and we're gonna come back soon. He'll see you soon tonight.
Thank you, Roman, and hello to your family back home. Now, Pat, do you have any words of advice for people at home wanting to take on 23.2?
You guys might have seen it's not that much of a shuttle run. Really quick, it turns into a bit of a shuttle shuffle and maybe a shuttle walk. But that's like, your legs blow up a lot, so as you get in that last 5 minutes and you start looking at your barbell in the corner, you're like, I could go a little slower. And I think it's worth it to stick to a relatively conservative pace for you on the burpees and try to be steady there. The first few will be hard after the shuttles, but then you settle into that movement. You can get through, especially once they get longer, 15, 20 reps, if you get there. And the shuttle runs happen pretty fast, whether you're jogging or running, so use it as your recovery and then try to be diligent on the burpees. But yeah, do it with your friends. It's a good one. Good to race people.
Thank you so much, guys, and thank you for joining us. Roman, did you have one more thing that you wanted to say? Yes, okay.
Я надеюсь, Боцман прогоняет их, прежде чем нам давать. Потому что, когда я вышел на 5-минутку поднимать штангу, я думал, ё-моё, что это такое? Он сам это делал, нет?
He wants to say a message to Adrian. Adrian, where are you? He was asking if you are doing it yourself before telling them to do it. Because after 15 minutes, he came out for the thrusters and he was like, what is this? I hope you did it. What was your score?
We'll have to find out from Adrian later on after he does the workout. And for you guys at home, last week you asked us to hear more from the athletes and we listened. Tommy will be catching up with Pat Vellner later on in our cool-down show to chat all things 23.2. And while I go and enjoy some burritos from Chipotle, we're going to leave you with these tips for how to take on 23.2.
For me, this was one of the most memorable open workouts I've ever done, even though there's a little part of me that wishes I could forget most of it. But here are a couple tips to keep you moving and think about these new movements and this two-part workout for 23.2. First, the burpee pull-up. One of the things you really want to make sure you do here is find a place where your hands go on the ground, so you have to spend less time figuring about where to look up when you jump to grab that bar. The second thing to think about is that you can jump into the pull-up on this workout. You don't have to jump and start from a dead hang. So if you struggle with the pull-up, take an extra second to pause, get your eyes on the bar, and use a little extra leg to make that pull-up easier. Now vice versa, if the legs get a little bit tired, you can always jump, start from that hang, and do a nice kipping pull-up to get your chin over the bar. Now, the burpee pull-up is a little bit slower than other variations of the burpee that I'm familiar with, which means you might have a little extra energy to push just a hair faster on that run than you want to. Keep that in mind. Just a little quicker, one extra step on that shuttle run is going to make up a lot of time in this workout. The other thing to think about in this workout is that you're going to spend a lot of time looking at the ground, especially on those burpee pull-ups. During the shuttle run, especially during that transition, even if you're running slowly, make that transition quick. You don't want to spend a ton of time hunched over, because that is just going to add extra fatigue to that low back. Now, moving on to the second part of this workout, 23.2B, you're not going to have a lot of time to work up to that 1 rep max thruster. In 5 minutes, most of us will only have about 3 to 5 attempts to find our heaviest weight that we can lift. Make sure during the warm-up you spend a little extra time planning out the weights and the jumps that you want to take. Your opening weight that you want for a score should be moderate to heavy, but it should also be a gimme, something you're sure you can get so you can build a little confidence before you try for that second attempt. Also on the thruster, no cheeky business. Needs to be one fluid movement from the down all the way to the up. You don't want to sneak an accidental jerk in there and end up with a no rep. That's 23.2. Coaches and affiliate owners, make sure you check the free class plan download from CrossFit Affiliate Programming to help you run this effectively inside of your gym with suggested general and specific warm-ups, as well as logistical tips to help you run this regardless of the size of your space for whatever your equipment needs are. As always, make sure you check the official movement standards as well as information about all divisions from the official 23.2A and 23.2B scorecard you can download at games.crossfit.com. Have fun with this workout. I can't wait to see how you do, and I'll see you on the leaderboard.
The 2023 NOBULL CrossFit Open is presented by Chipotle, the official burrito bowl of the NOBULL CrossFit Open. Rogue, the official equipment supplier of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. Wild Health, the official precision medicine partner of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. And O2 Hydration, the official sports drink of the NOBULL CrossFit Games.
what makes a good coach? Well, we have the definition of effective coaching, but at the heart of great coaching, first thing is you have to care. And what we try to teach everyone coming into the level 1 is, regardless of the ability level of who walks into your gym, that person deserves a cue. Whether that be someone who is coming to their first CrossFit class or a games athlete like Chandler Smith. Our ability as coaches and our effectiveness is directly impacted by our ability to have someone leaving our class better and have learned something new than when they walked in the door.
CrossFit and Rusty have a lot of overlaps. Both goals are keeping people healthy, get you moving better, living a healthier lifestyle. We don't only support the community, we're a part of the community.
They tell you exactly what's wrong, and they're going to tell you how you can fix it through movement.
It really does make you more aware of what you're doing, how you do it, and how to stay healthy.
The Open concludes in the heartland of America. Mal O'Brien has been the future of the sport of fitness. This year, she is hoping to show the future has arrived. Danielle Brandon continues to rise through the ranks of the women's division. Now she is poised to make a run to the top of the game's podium. Two of the best collide in Nebraska. 23.3 O'Brien versus Brandon, live next week from CrossFit Omaha.
Hello and welcome to the Cool Down Show presented by Airosty. The same effective and efficient Airosty treatment that athletes experience at the Games is now available nationwide through Airosty Remote Recovery. Scan the QR code to schedule or visit airosty.com/CrossFit-recovery to learn more. I am joined by Dr. Jason Garrett from Airosty. And Jason, how would these athletes be feeling after that workout?
Well, obviously the low back is going to be cooked the entire time. Your legs are fried, but those things you're going to recover pretty quickly. You're not going through full range of motion. Your biceps, if you don't want to have delayed onset muscle soreness, as soon as you're done, make sure you take care of your biceps. They're going to be cooked.
And any tips for people looking to take on 23.2 when it comes to recovery?
Yeah, make sure you drink plenty of water, especially afterwards. Most of the athletes said that this was all engine. Their lungs were on fire. They don't realize how bad their body's going to hurt yet. Make sure you drink a lot of water, get really good sleep, get good nutrition. Obviously, if you're doing Friday Night Lights, you may have a drink or two, so follow it with a lot more water or try to avoid alcohol altogether.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Jason.
Thank you.
We're going to send it back over to Tommy Marquez now, who is standing by with a half-naked Patrick Vellner.
A tarpless and glistening Pat Vellner. Thanks, Kayla. Pat, thanks for joining me in the booth today. I know you're still recovering, but let's talk about before the workout. It gets announced. You have your initial thoughts. What did the prep for this look like in getting warmed up?
I think anytime you find something out last minute, general warm-up's really important. So we were doing a bit of that beforehand, just get all the joints and things rocking and rolling so you're not surprised. And I know, happy we did that because you're going overhead, you're going into a full squat. We had a pretty full range of motion at the end of the workout under load. But really, I mean, the main Metcon part is a lot of engine. It's not a lot of range. So it's more just getting your engine warmed up nice. And I mean, we just did really, I think we identified that the shuttle runs were not necessarily the intensity portion of the workout for us. It was more about finding steady paces on those burpees, not losing time when you could, and then just, you know, trotting along on the shuttles and getting through it.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at how it played out on the competition floor. You and Roman tackling the first of this two-part event. You know, initial thoughts as you're starting to get this going. Was there a specific foot cadence or process to these burpees?
Yeah, I think you want to be automatic. Whether it's the burpee pull-up or the shuttle runs, figure out how many steps it's going to take you, maybe even at the start, and once your legs run out of a bit of juice, get those turns efficient, and, you know, the hinge, try to treat it as small of a hinge as you can. Put some weight on your leg with your arms if you can, but recover on that run because you learn really fast in these expanding rep schemes. You get to the round of 15 and through that, and you're still only a third of the way through the time. So those late rounds are worth a lot, and if you can keep moving at that consistent pace through, you know, the round of 20 and maybe 25s, depending on how far you get in, it's worth a lot of time. So it's more about the burpees than the shuttles, I think, at the high level.
And I noticed that, you know, you had an interesting hand placement hands a little flared out, elbows wide out. Was that strategic in terms of what muscles you were trying to save?
I think, I'm not the world's best presser, and so my thruster is limited a lot by my press. You saw it at the end, I'm just getting pinned, and I don't have the same walkout. I was envious of Roman stopping at eye level and then just pushing it out like I could ever do that. So I think it was worth it to save my arms where I could, and that's just kind of one spot I identified that as a potential strategy.
Yeah, I'm curious about, obviously as you get fatigued and the workout starts to progress on the back half, the shuttle runs start to look a little bit different, but was there a specific foot cadence or, rhythm that you were trying to stick to throughout the entire way?
To be honest, at the late rounds, it was more about even the first half of the shuttle runs, trying to get your heart rate back to a manageable place. And then in the last half, maybe the last 5, trying to pick it up a little bit. But your legs are heavy when you start those shuttles in the late rounds, and if you can get it back to a decent place, instead of pushing from the start, feeling really labored and slow, and then coming into the burpees toast. You could come into the burpees feeling all right, bang out the first maybe 10 feeling okay before it starts to set in. So having a bit of a take it easier at the start, and then start to accelerate in the back end of those shuttles. It seemed to be a good strategy that we both were kind of naturally doing.
Obviously we love to talk about the triumphs and victories, but we started to see Roman pull away here towards the end. What's the conversation that's going through your head as that happens?
I mean, good for him, man. He's a big man, and those are a lot of burpees, so I was really impressed with Roman. He's looking really good. But yeah, I mean, you get to that round of 30, and it takes a really long time. I think we were within a rep going into that round of 30, and then he just had the extra get up and go at the end. And I started in the back half there, having to take an extra beat coming down. And, I think you start to, as you get to that last 5, 4, 3 minutes, you start looking at that barbell in the corner, and you're like, all right, what do I have to do to be ready for that?
And speaking of that barbell, this is your lift at 270. You missed the attempt before. I mean, obviously there's adrenaline, there's fatigue, but how do you reload to get a successful lift like that?
I think you just have to take a minute and assess where the miss happened, right? When you're tired and breathing heavy, sometimes your core is what crumbles, and it's just, if that's it, you got to take a few extra minutes, maybe tighten that belt up a little more, take a big breath and go for it again, right? So you can miss technically, and that was about threshold for me after that workout. I went up by 5 pounds and missed, and it's just, my press starts to limit me a lot, and I don't have the same leg drive I would on a fresh, nice day after that 15 minutes of work. So you have to try to take the extra 5 pounds when you can get it and then be happy with it.
Well, the rest of the CrossFit community is about to tackle these 2 tests as well. If you had one piece of advice that you could give to them, anyone at home that's maybe a little nervous.
15 minutes is a long time. These movements, neither are very hard. It's all body weight. It's pretty easy, and we tend to underestimate that. You don't have to take a big break but to know you're going to make the big lift. You can get down on the floor and stand back up and do a pull-up. All of that is very doable, so it's really easy to get ahead of yourself and look at the clock at 5 minutes and go, oh no.
Yep.
So I think being aware of how long 15 minutes really is. I did some rough math, and I was off by a full round of how far I thought we'd get.
Oh, wow.
So we moved pretty quick, and, I think people will be surprised at how fast it adds up and how far they get in. So respect the amount of work that's going to get done, because it adds up, and those last 5 minutes will be no fun if you made a bad decision.
Oh, man, respect the work and respect to your performance, man. Thanks for taking the time. I know you're still recovering. I'll let you go get all finished up and find maybe a fresh shirt as well.
We'll see. Hopefully there's one in the building somewhere.
I think we can find you one. Before we let you go, we want to give you one more chance to get yourself some free food. If you haven't gotten your free Chipotle entree yet, this is your last chance. Text OPEN445 to 888-222 to receive a buy one, get one entree now. This is your last chance. Text OPEN445 to 888-222. That's going to do it for us here at CrossFit Bison in our 23.2 live open announcement. Special thanks to the entire Bison crew. They've been awesome hosts and provided a great atmosphere. And thanks for everyone at home for tuning in. We'll be back next week to close out the open from CrossFit Omaha. For Caleb Banfield, Sean Woodland, I'm Tommy Marquez. We'll see you next week, and best of luck in 23.2.